splits are something that if you want to achieve a movement and a position that you need to work on most days, once you achieve it, you can shift it to a maintenance type deal, but even then you still have to work quite hard to maintain it. Now, genetically, some people are able to achieve a full flat side split. Some people have a different neck in the femur, so depending on the angulation of that neck will determine whether the femur can move into that fully articulated position where you can get a side split. For a lot of people, the neck of the femur doesn't allow for that. So some people genetically have a position that allows them to go further, and some people have a genetically predetermined position that allows them to go less further. In saying that, everyone can improve, and it's more about achieving the best that you can do in a lifestyle that you enjoy than anything else. So the path is the same for everyone, depending on, regardless of what your genetics are, but you want to work at it and improve it, and you're only competing against yourself, like with anything. So you don't need to compare yourself with other people. You can use them for inspiration, but you might find out that you can only achieve a certain range, and that's cool. But I can guarantee everybody that I've worked with, they've been able to improve it dramatically, and it's allowed them to achieve a lot more other positions that they thought they wouldn't be able to, especially as it relates to gymnastic strength. So let's get started. The key thing is to strengthen the range. So one of the most basic things to do, which is in the program, which is lateral squatting. So in the hang handstand split warm up, it's in there, and once a week I'll load this position up, which is a lot more valuable than just a straight squat, because you're getting that lateral shift, you're conditioning the adductor as you go down into the side split position on that leg, and especially if you try and keep some weight here, so you're not just trying to use that outside leg like a single leg squat, then you can condition that adductor and get quite strong there, coming right down deep and moving around it. Another component, so people always ask, should I do it with my feet flat when I come down, or should I turn the toes up? Now this position is going to be a lot easier to achieve the side split position because of that. Externally rotated position allows for it. Now if you're like this is a lot harder as a side split to achieve, and you'll see that a lot of people, even though they're doing this, they're actually arching their back to be able to keep an upright torso, because they're not posturally tucking the pelvis under, so they're maintaining an anterior tilt, which is fairly natural because that's a lot easier to achieve that position for a side split than it is with a posterior tuck of the pelvis, which is a lot harder. So even when I've conditioned mine to a very high level and been able to do it between chairs comfortably, I still found it very hard to do that posterior pelvic tilt version. And a lot of people, you'll see, photos from front on, and you can't see how much they're arching their back. But it's not really a big deal. If you can achieve it to that level, then you're doing very well. So it's not really too much to worry about, but it is something that you need to understand, that it is going to be harder to condition it there than there. You'll be able to get a lot deeper because of the way the femur moves, and it can move that acetabulum can move inside the head. The head of the femur can move inside the joint a lot better. So I encourage people to condition both, but just understand that you'll be able to go deeper with the toes up, like that. So doing those with your main strengthening, so one day a week I do heavy legs where I'll do that. Now if I'm conditioning people for just the side split, they might work that into their gymnastic strength with the upper body. So for example, doing a front lever planche and then a side split, or doing back lever and a side split. Those two workouts work well together. Otherwise, if you're just doing it by itself, then a simple approach would be to maybe do a month of eccentrics, months of dynamic. Like this would be more of a dynamic drill, going side to side. That's a good place to start. Then you might go into eccentrics where you're lowering down and then you can hang off the rings to lift yourself back up and just do eccentrics. Then you can do isometrics at that end range and just hold. So a really basic workout structure would be 30 seconds dynamic, isometric or eccentric, and then 30 seconds I like doing the 90-90 hip shifts. There's lots of variations of those. If you've got more time, you might do a full minute on the side split, do a full 30 seconds each side on these. And just like any stretch, if you hold that end range, you're strengthening that end range. And then if you want to get active control in there, what I like to do is use that back leg to control that on the rest, and then control the rotation and do that. So that might be a version that you can work on as well. So you might be doing isometric hold, isometric lift on the back leg, and then same on the other side. Because ultimately you've got to get strong in that full range of motion. So I got the side splits when I was 16, 17. Now I was doing Taekwondo at the time. I was training it every day at home. I'd be doing all the, the various stance work, which is just that, just doing these holds, getting down deep, getting strong there. And I was doing all the leg holds. So holding my leg and doing all these types of variations, and just doing that. I was watching lots of martial arts videos and getting into that style of training, which I really enjoyed at that age. And I, just kind of wanted to emulate Jean-Claude Van Damme and his ability to do the side splits between two chairs. So I just trained it and made it happen. At that age, the tissues, yes, they're a lot more adaptable, so it makes it a bit easier, but at the same time, it was what I was doing. I was going to Taekwondo 3 times a week and doing classes and training that, but then I was doing it every day by myself. And then every day I would be trying to hold my leg as high as I could, as high. When I do that every day, do sets, reps, holds like that. So I really had to work quite hard at it, even though I was younger, and it was obviously easier for my body to adapt. And then I just did that, morning and evening, and then went to classes, and it just kept getting stronger and stronger. So I guess the take-home point is that it's hard work, and it needs to be a lifestyle that you enjoy. So if you're not enjoying the process of working on it, you're going to find it very hard to achieve. So in my head, I was just visualizing these things that I wanted to achieve every day, and it just kept me motivated, and small little gains add up over time. So adding it in once a week as a standalone workout or working it with your upper body strength will definitely work. And that's an easy way to keep it consistent. And then using it in your training. So for example, if you're doing handstand work, then doing that side split handstand position is a good way to feel what you're working on and express it. So that way you're like, okay, I'm doing all this extra work that has some relevance, and it's improving my side split in the handstand. And then it could be in cartwheels in a more dynamic position, and then just getting stronger in those lateral lunges and lateral squats on your leg day. And then if you're adding it into your gymnastic strength work and your warm-up, you'll see progressions every day. So if you're doing the full mobility warm-up where it has a side split in there, you'll just feel that it gets easier. And these positions get easier to control, especially if you're doing the pancake work and all of that. Some other strengthening ideas are to do the wall short adductor strengthening work. So instead of doing the loaded versions where you're hanging off the rings or using something to support you, lowering yourself down, lifting all those lateral squats, you might do this for a month where you're doing the shorter adductors and adding the weight. So you're getting right into that position just like in the mobility warm-up, and then you just add the load here. You can contract against it and then let it relax and come down, and then also try and contract the opposite. So try and squeeze the glutes and stay up tall, lower that down, and getting stronger in that end range will really allow for that position to become more comfortable. with that version, yeah, I think it's great to go into those 99s in between. Really helps. And same again, those leg lifts, so getting that active control. I also like the active control in the hang. So when you're hanging off the bar or the rings and doing that side split, like the beginning part of hang compression for the press handstand, those drills work really well to strengthen all those abductors. So they're abducting it away, and that's going to allow those adductors to open up, just like strengthening the adductors will help the joint feel more stable. And with any joint in the body, the stronger you are on both sides equally, so having that equal strength allows both sides to get stronger. If you just focus on your adductors and try to make them stronger, you don't get the outside of your hip strong, it's not going to open up. It's going to get to a point where the joint feels unstable, it's pulling to one side every time you load it. So you might have strengthened all that side, you stretch it right out, there's an imbalance there. And then when you go to squat or do something heavy, and you might have strengthened one side, the other side feels weak, the joint's not going to like it. It always likes balance. So it's another important point is if you want to develop side splits, you've also got to work on your pancake, hamstring flexibility, pike flexibility, and your front split flexibility. They all work together. You can't just do one unless you've already got one, but you want to make sure you maintain that equal balance strength all around the hip joint. Some other things to do, which is in the foam roller warmer, is to loosen it up all the way around, promote blood flow to the area, and just get a feel for it. A lot of people now are like, oh, you just got to get stronger, ignore that. I just find that it's an easier process. You could definitely just do the strengthening work, and you're probably going to get most of the results. I just find that people that do the mobility work, so they do the quad or adductor, well, like this, coming in, and just do a thing that's only quick. They get to know where the tension is and work right around that whole thigh and integrate that into their weekly routine. So at least keeping 1 or 2 days a week where you go over the foam roller routine, they just improve a lot more, and they get to know their body and understand where their tension is. In terms of frequency, I like 1 time per week, really focusing on strengthening the side splits for people that want to achieve it, doing work on it daily or just doing maintenance daily and just expressing it daily. And then 1 time a week when you're doing your heavier leg work, so squats, lunges, deadlifts, that using, if you want to achieve that side split faster for your squatting, using that the side split, just like in the leg strengthening, I get people to do that deep split squat for the back leg for the front split, and to do straight leg deadlifts if they want to get a good pancake and they want to get a good front split as well, because it helps with that front leg. So doing all that extra strengthening really helps, makes it all come together a lot faster. So it's just really a process, and using the weekly training structure and programming that you have to gradually improve. If you're not improving, you've got to reassess it and work out, do I have enough time to commit to this to do it well? Am I doing enough work? Am I doing it correctly? And am I progressing? So you've really got to put all that together and work out how your whole week's going to flow together to allow for the best adaptation to the training stimulus that you're putting onto your body. So get into that, enjoy it. I want to see some videos from the front and from the side. So you want to film straight on so I can see left to right, and just lower yourself down to the range that you have, where you feel strong. You don't want to hurt yourself with any of these things. It's always about trying to work the range that feels good to you. So there, I'm not fully warmed up, so there I'm kind of not hitting that full range. And you'll see that as I went down, I leaned forward. So I had that anterior pelvic tilt, which made it easier for me to go further. Hit the mic here. But yeah, try and film it from the side. So you see that it's easier for me to go further if I go forward. If I tuck the butt under, it's a lot harder. So having those positions as a reference, and then that way you can compare those videos with your future performance, and so can I, to see if is your program working, because you can only improve what you measure. And the easiest way to record and measure is just to film the positions, and that way you've got it as a timeline of things that you've done, and you can go back and say, hey, I didn't really think I was improving, but here's a video of me 6 months ago, and far out, like, my positioning is so much better, and I'm structurally more aligned, and maybe the range is only another 5-10 degrees, but it's improved, and I look a lot more comfortable in those positions, plus I'm stronger there. So you always want to look at progress in terms of everything that's happening. If you just, obviously it's nice to just get that full side split, that'd be great, but it's far better to get an extra 10 degrees range of motion and have control there and be strong there than it is to get an extra 15, but you're hurting and you're uncomfortable, the joints feel unstable, they're clicking, popping, all of those things, your muscle back keeps tightening up. It's getting that balance and looking at the bigger picture, not just one aspect of your goal. So, see you soon. Ciao.